Well, today we're going to continue our fence cost calculator program that we started last time. So I have it up right now. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the date to be today, the 27th. And it's a good idea to keep your header updated. I'm just going to start by running it so we can remember what we did last time. So if I hit run code, welcome to the fence cost calculator. Enter your information below to discover the cost of your fence. I don't really love that that runs off the screen, so I'm going to take care of that in just a minute. Please enter the length of your fence in feet. I believe this one was supposed to be a whole number, so I'm going to try and mess it up by giving it a non-whole number. Input not recognized. Please enter an integer. Good, so that works. 5 feet. Oh, and it's printing it out right now. I can probably get rid of that now that I'm sure it's working. Please enter the width of your fence. That was also an integer. Please enter the cost of your fence. What if I say $20? Input not recognized. Please enter an, oh, it says integer again. I don't really want an integer there. I want a float. All right, I'll have to fix that. 12.3 total cost of the fence. Okay, so there are a few things that I guess I missed last time and I want to fix. Okay, so here we set a non-negative number. Please enter a number. Hopefully, I think that's still okay. I like having it general enough that we can use this function for both, but we could always decide to change it if we want one for integers and one for floats. What else did I say I wanted to fix? Oh, I don't like that this runs off the screen. So I'm just going to edit this print line right here, the welcome, and I'm going to add some space. So a \n, you can see it changes color a little bit. That's recognized by the compiler as a line break. I'm going to put one there and actually one at the end too, so we get kind of a separation in our program. So let's see what that looks like. Ah, look, now it fits. Welcome to the fence cost calculator. Enter your information, and then we get a line break, and then it kind of starts the program. So that's good. I like that. What else did I say I wanted to fix? Oh, the printing. I maybe don't need the printing. I'm not going to delete that quite yet, but probably soon. Okay, so what are we going to do today? I made some thoughts, things that I would like to add to my program. Maybe not all today. We'll see if we can get a couple of them though. Rounding of the price. So generally speaking, we only do out to 2 decimal points when we're looking at a cost in dollars. We don't really think of things in tenths of cents. So it would be good that my program also rounds to the nearest cent. So that would be good. Different types or heights of fence, right? Because a little like short front yard fence might not be the same as like a 8-foot tall security fence, which might not be the same as like a 5 or 6 foot tall backyard fence. So maybe we can add a way to choose different types or heights. Gates, fences have gates and they cost more. So we need to take that into account. Discounts might be a cool thing to, maybe our customer has a coupon code that we can check. If we're guessing online, that could be kind of cool. Or maybe like a bulk discount. If we calculate they go over 1,000 feet, we'll give them 5% off. I don't know. So some way to add discounts, that might be kind of fun. And repeatability. They might want to run this calculator more than just once without having to restart the program. So maybe when they're done calculating their cost, we give them an option to run again. Okay, so those are all things that I would like to add. Probably not all of them today. We're going to get at least a couple. Let's start with rounding of price. So if we take a look, I'm just going to run this again. And I like that formatting so much better. Okay, so if we have a 5-foot by 21-foot fence and we have determined that the cost is $11.22 per foot, we get, oh, that was not a good example because I still got 2 decimals. Shoot. All right, let's try again. 17 by 73. And it'll be $12.17. Getting nice round numbers, which is a bummer. It's not really what I want. I suppose I should have come up with some examples that would be really terrible, but what can you do? All right, well, I'm gonna put in a ridiculous one here so that we can be sure to get something that's all wrong. That long decimal. Okay, so I don't want this price that has this long decimal after it. And so how do I make sure that that only shows 2 decimal places and never more? So what I would do is I would use rounding. So I pulled up the Python library here, and if I didn't know quite what to call it, I might guess that it was called rounding because we want to round off the number, right? And here it is, a built-in Python function, round. So what it's going to do is it's a function, right? And we are going to give it our number and how many digits we want expressed, and it will print that out. So let's just see how that looks first. So I'm going to put way up here at the top, print round, and I'm just going to give it, you know, a long decimal number and say I want 2 places. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, so it takes this long decimal and rounds it to 2 places. So that's exactly what I want, right? That function looks like it's working just fine. And so now I just need to figure out where to use it in my program. So where I want it to really show up is way down here in the print. Now, right now, I have this calculation running inside my print line, and I don't think I like that. I think I want to pull that out. So I'm going to change this a little bit. Instead of calling this one cost, I'm going to call it price. And now I'm going to have a new variable called cost that is going to do this calculation. There we go. Okay, and then down here, and then, so on a new line, before I even do that, I'm going to show you what it looks like if I just, all I did was I moved that calculation out of the print line and to its own variable right before it. So let's see how that looks. Cost not defined. Oh, times cost. All right, fair enough. This should be times price. Okay, we're gonna try again. All right, so we can see here that we have length, width, price. I suppose I should change that to say price too. I'll do that in a sec. And then the total cost, it does that calculation where it takes the length and the width times 2, multiplies it by price, and that comes out to be the total cost. All right, so here I'm gonna change this to price. And here in the print line is where I would like it to be rounded. So I can do that more than one way. I could do the rounding in here in the print line, but I think I'm just fine doing it out here. So what that's gonna look like is we could do this more than one way. We could, for example, say, okay, now that I have the cost, I would like to round cost to 2 decimals, right? This should work just fine. Let's take a look. Okay, and it successfully rounds it to 2 decimal places. I don't have to do this on 2 different lines. I could also do it like this, where this thing, this calculation is my first piece, and then 2 is my second piece, my second argument. And that one works fine too. So either one of those is okay. Some people might prefer to be able to see their calculation by itself and then do the rounding. Totally fine. You could even do the rounding down in here as long as it was inside the parentheses of the string conversion. Any of those is okay. I am going to add what I am doing with this line. Calculate cost and round to nearest cent. Okay, so we have done rounding of the price. Let's do different types or heights. So I'm also going to go ahead and delete all of these print, because we don't really need those printed. We've just typed them in. So now it should look a little cleaner. 5, 6, 123.87, and the total cost. There you go. So the price right here is what might be different depending on the type of fence we have. So I'm gonna comment this one out for a moment and say, maybe I don't know the price. Maybe I need my user chooses type of fence. That's what I need to happen here, right? And when they do that, maybe it will set the price. So now that I've chosen, or I've already entered the length and width of my fence, I need to let my user know that now they're going to choose what type of fence they have. So please choose a type of fence. And what am I going to have them choose between? So maybe one will be like a picket fence, like with those cute picket fences that sometimes people put out front. I think that's like a 3 foot. That seems too high. 2 foot. 2 foot picket fence. They could choose a 5 foot yard fence. Or a 8 foot security fence. 8 feet seems really tall. That's why I chose that. Yeah, that's very big. Okay, let's see how this is looking. So I'm going to enter, I have a 15 foot by 20 foot area. Oh, no, it's unhappy. Price. Oh, because yeah, all right. So I can't do these calculations because I haven't decided what the price is yet. I'm just commenting them out for now so we can see how this is looking. Okay, please choose a type of fence. Good, that part looks fine. And so now I need to have a place for them to enter that. So that's going to be an input. Okay, and maybe we call it fence type. That seems like a appropriate variable name, right? It's descriptive of what's happening. Fence type, and am I going to have them do the check input thing? I think I'm not going to have them do the check input thing because we're also going to need to do something else with the information they've entered. So we're going to end up with kind of a different check going on. Yeah. So I am going to need input from them. Type of fence desired. And they'll be able to type that in. So let's see how that looks. Type of fence desired. I want number 2. Okay, so that's where our program stops right now because we haven't done anything more with that information. But now we can. So here is where we need to set the price. It's going to end up looking very much like this function. So we could make it a function here. We could, let's go ahead and kind of copy this guy. This could certainly be another function, but in this case, I think we only want to run this kind of interaction once, not for multiple different measurements. So I'm going to not set it up as a function for now. Okay, so in this case, we're going to try and turn their fence type into a integer. And if that works, then we also need to, this is what's going to change. We also need to use what they entered to set the price. Okay, if it did not work, we want them to try again. And fence type equals same thing. We want them to try again. Okay, so if they have successfully entered a number that's an integer, we need to check and see, is it the number 1? Well, great, then price is going to be whatever it is. Now we have to decide what these different fence types are going to cost. So I'm going to say that the price of a, which one is number 1, 2-foot picket fence is, I am not a fence installer, so these prices are totally made up. But we'll make that on the cheaper side. That's going to be $6.87 a foot. Okay. If it's not number 1, then maybe it's number 2. In which case, I'm going to say that the price of our 5-foot yard fence is $19.23. Wouldn't want any round numbers to make our lives easier here. The fence type is 3. And the price of our 8-foot security fence is going to be much more. It's going to be $49 and what haven't I done yet? 54 cents. Okay. How are we doing? So while true, so I want this to repeat until something looks good. It's going to try and turn it into an integer. If it doesn't work, it's going to say, nope, that's not right. to an number. I don't like an number, a number. Is that wrong up above too? Yes, look at that. A number. Okay. Type of fence desired, so it's going to ask them to try again. If it is a number, good, good. If it is a number, if it is number 1, we set the price. If it is number 2, we set the price. If it's number 3, we set the price. If it's not any of those, we want them to try again. Yeah, so here we want to try again. Okay, I'm just going to delete that one for now, and we'll come back to that in just a sec. And we don't want to return, we want to break out of the loop. So if we have successfully chosen one of these prices, then we're done. And then we should have a price, so we should be able to go down and calculate the cost and go ahead and print it out. So before we do anything else, let's see how we're doing. All right, length, width, please choose a type of fence. So first, let's do something totally not helpful, and say, oh, I want the picket fence. It says, oh, that's not something you can do. We need you to choose a number, please. So how about if I choose number 1? Ah, okay. So the total cost of your fence. Perfect. That's good. You know what is not included in here anywhere is me telling them what the cost of those different types is. We should probably include that. Maybe right down here, we'll add a line now that we have a price that says print the price of your fence per foot is, and $. Let's see how that looks. Okay, the price of your fence per foot is, the total cost of your fence is. I think I've decided I don't like that period at the end. I'm gonna get rid of that one. Okay, price of your fence per foot, total cost of fence. We're looking pretty good. I like it, guys. Okay. What if we put in a less helpful number? 5. Yeah, see, it doesn't know what to do with the number 5. That's not so great. So how, I don't think I've taught you how to do that yet. So right now it's stuck in an endless loop, right? Because I haven't told it what to do with anything that's not, I haven't told it what to do with anything that's not 1, 2, or 3, which is why we just crashed it. We didn't crash it, I crashed it, sorry. So I do need to give it a what to do instead. I want it to try again. So I want it to do this stuff, same as if there's an error. Let's see how that works. Ah, there we go. Picket. No. 7. No. 23.5. No. Okay, how about number 3? Yes. Okay, so that one will work just fine. So now we have successfully, could you do more fence types in here? Absolutely, as many as you want. And you could add, 20 different ones. That would be a lot of types of fence. I don't know if I can think of that many types of fence. All right, so, but we have done different types. Maybe I'll do gates real quick. And then that's it. We'll call it there for today. Okay, so choose the type of fence. That's looking good. And then we printed out the type of fence, and here we calculated the cost. But before we calculate the cost, let's also ask user if they want gates and how many. Okay, so gates, first let's just ask if they want any gates. We'll just call it gates. Input. Do you want any gates? Yes or no. Okay, and we want to make sure that they enter one of those things. So hopefully we're getting good at this repeating check now. We want to know if gates is yes or gates is no. Let's start with gates is yes. So I'm going to have to ask how many. And if gates is no, I'm going to break out of the loop. And if it's anything else, I need them to repeat, right? Because whatever they input was not helpful. I don't really need to copy that. So I'm going to say print input not recognized. And then we're gonna ask their question again. Okay. Under ask how many, that's gonna be another prompt. Number of gates is how many goats would you like? Okay, and here we do want a number that's an integer. So we could go back and use our check input function again. So I'm going to add that in just a minute. I want to make sure that this part of the loop is working okay, because you never know. So let's try number of gates. Oh, I have to tell it that this is going to be an input. There we go. Nope, didn't like that at all. Forgot a quote on the end. Okay, oh, why do I still have that print at the very beginning? I don't need that. Okay, length, width, type of fence. I'm going to do a backyard fence. oh, I typed the wrong one. Good. Do you want any gates? I'm going to go with yes. How many would I like? 5. Didn't tell it to break. Whoops. Okay. If I have successfully entered a number, I can go ahead and break out of that loop. So far, so good. Do I want any gates? Yes or no? Yes or no? So one of the things that I might want to check here is what happens if someone types in yes or no in a slightly different case than I used. Okay, what if they type in all lowercase? Ah, see, input not recognized. What if they type in all uppercase? Input not recognized. So one trick that can be really helpful here is to switch everything, whatever they type in, we're going to make it all uppercase. And then, I hope I'm using this correctly. We'll look it up in a minute if it's not. And so then whether I type in some upper and some lower, or all upper, I'm going to take whatever they type in and change it to all uppercase and compare it to that to fix that particular problem. So let's see if I type that in right. Do I want one? Yes. Ah, okay, so it managed to convert this yes to an uppercase. See that? And then when it compared it to all uppercase, it moved on to ask how many. So that's great. Except that I want a space there. Okay, let's see. How are we doing? Down here, I do want to go call this function that I made earlier, this check input. So we need to remember how to do that. So we're going to have the name of the variable. We're going to tell it to check input. We're going to give it what we want to enter and then what type it's supposed to be. So let's go down here and do that. Number of gates equals check input. How many gates would you like? And I need them to enter an integer. So let's see how that is working. Do you want a gate? Yes. How many? 5 written out. Nope, no good. 23 and a half. Nope, no good. How about 2? Ah, yes, okay, good. So now we have how many gates we'd like. Excellent. But we need to use that number in the cost calculation. So for now, what am I going to do? For now, I'm going to say that there's a static cost for a gate and a static. So if you install a gate, let's say they're 3 feet wide. Let's say they're 5 feet wide. That's a nice round number, including the posts on either end. 5 is good. So 5 feet wide, which means you need to add the cost of the gate, but subtract 5 feet worth of the calculated price. Okay, so we're gonna include that down here in our cost calculation. And I'm actually going to rewrite this guy to take the rounding out because I think that especially once this gets longer, it might be easier for you to see if they're done separately. Okay, so first I've calculated the total cost of the fence itself. So now I need to add the number, what do I call it, number of gates times, we're gonna make them cost $20 each. I'm gonna note that up here, print. Gates are $20 each. Before we ask them if they would like any gates. So down here, I need to add on however many gates they want times 20, but I also need to subtract the number of gates times 5 feet times the price per foot. Okay. Do we want any other sort? Well, let's see how this runs. I have a 25-foot by 35-foot yard. I'm going to get a little picket fence for it. Gates are $20 each. Do I want any? Yes. How many? Just one. And the total cost of your fence is, and there you go. That's looking pretty good. I really like that, guys. Would we have anything else down here? We could have, I don't know. I can't think of what else I would want on the output right now. I'm gonna stop there. That's plenty for one day. So let's see what we managed to do. We added in rounding of the price. We added in taking different types or heights of gates into account, or different types or heights of fencing into account, and letting customers add in gates. So that's pretty good. I like it. So up here in my header, I'm going to include including fence choice and gates, because I added that today. I still have comments explaining all the major parts of my program. I am checking input regularly to make sure that they are typing in things that can be used by the program, so it doesn't just crash and or not know what to do next. And we have a good, well-formatted output when we're done. So this is looking pretty good. I'm gonna stop this one here for today, and we'll make it even fancier next time. Okay, bye.